Another Angle of Pursuit live stream helping you with your fantasy football start sits, who should be in your roster, who you should avoid. We're here to give you our thoughts. We'll hang out here for a bit as people roll in to see what happens. Better check.
Now it's good.
Check. Okay. I don't know.
It's 2020. What can we say?
Yeah. So let people trickle in. Drop questions as they roll in. Brian, I'm watching ESPN because I'm gonna have the college football selection committee thing starts here in 15 minutes. Did you know Rex Ryan makes DraftKings picks on the Sunday Morning Countdown show?
Rex Ryan is a DraftKings professional.
Apparently, he's suggesting players to play in your DraftKings lineup.
I'm not taking any advice from that guy.
With all the smart people in the DFS space going to Rex Ryan to get your picks. And to be fair, his picks weren't atrocious, or it wasn't play the best players ever and don't play the good one or don't play the bad ones. But it's just I can't imagine you're ever winning money listening to Rex Ryan and DraftKings picks.
Yeah, no, that is not something that's recommended for sure.
No, that's a very, very ESPN move. All right, Brian, we're gonna start monitoring the chat. So as you guys roll in, feel free, guys and gals, feel free to drop questions. What are you paying attention to this morning? We were talking before the show, so let's talk Dallas and the Niners, and let's talk about that running back situation because Zeke is out and Tony Pollard is in.
Yeah, I was on Twitter earlier this week mentioning to people that although all the hoopla in that game was about signing Jeff Wilson in case of the absence of Raheem Mostert, I thought that it was really prudent of people to look at Tony Pollard once again, regardless of the matchup being bad on paper. He's stepping into a basically every down role now with no other guy behind him except for a practice squad guy. So Tony Pollard is guaranteed. Now, this is something that is super important, especially in fantasy playoffs, especially if you're in a PPR league. He's guaranteed 15-plus touches today. And he has game-breaking skills. Not Zeke does not provide that anymore. Tony Pollard can break off an 80-yard touchdown run, something that Zeke cannot do. So Tony Pollard, for me, is a plug-and-play, instantaneous top 20 play with the potential of top 15, top 10, depending on the kind of usage they get out of him.
Yep. So let me pull up a few names just so we can look at players that we would be playing ahead of him. While I'm doing that, let's talk a couple questions. Yeah, so we got first question. We got full PPR. We got Cooper Kupp or the breakout of Jonathan Taylor, which I don't know what the Colts something happened to the Colts where they decided that we're gonna give the ball to our best players and not just give it to random players all the time. So Jonathan Taylor's been an absolute stud, but Cooper Kupp in a PPR, that's hard to fade. Where are you going, Brian?
I mean, for me, I always lean on the side of the running back, especially with the kind of usage that Jonathan Taylor has been seeing. And I think the best thing looking at Jonathan Taylor's prospects for this week was the fact that Jordan Wilkins saw almost no playing time last week for the Colts. I think that's the biggest upside for Jonathan Taylor, is that the guy who kind of fills his role has now been faded. He faded to black, as they would say, and it's just him and Nyheim Hines. So I think that Jonathan Taylor is the answer, with the Rams likely absolutely destroying the Jets.
Yeah, and in a game where the Colts are favored by a touchdown, a little over a touchdown, and I think the Colts cover, I think the Colts win comfortably. I'm expecting a big Jonathan Taylor game against this Houston defense that can't stop anybody. We have so this is a good jumping off point too. We'll get back to Tony Pollard here in a second, but we need two. We have Leonard Fournette, who is going to see all the work today in Tampa Bay with Ronald Jones out. We have J.K. Dobbins. We have Deandre Swift against the Tennessee Titans. I guess let's start with Fournette and expectations there. do you think he just walks into the workload that Ronald Jones isn't getting this week?
I don't really see Fournette fulfilling the same kind of, first and second down running role that they used with Ronald Jones. And I kind of see this team going more towards the 65%, 70% passing attack that we saw in, some previous games this year, where I think that's where Fournette will make his bread today. Is he's going to be a receiver out of the backfield. I really don't think that Tampa Bay is going to be running the ball a ton, especially against this Atlanta defense, who they've been playing really well against the running backs and preventing a lot of yards on the ground. So, I think that this is a situation that obviously he's starting. We've heard that before from Bruce Arians, and Shady McCoy has seen some more snaps over the last couple of weeks. Keyshawn Vaughn has finally been active, and the word out of Tampa is that he looks really good and he's chomping at the bit to get more playing time. So I have a hard time trusting a Bruce Arians running back room. So in this situation, I'm taking J.K. Dobbins, especially with Mark Ingram being deemed inactive today. So that's just one less guy to contend with for carries. And then I absolutely love Deandre Swift against the Titans in a game that they should be trailing. They're down a ton of talent on the outside. It's going to be the Swift and Hawkinson show for Detroit.
Yeah. I mean, the last week was a little frustrating against Green Bay. I thought Deandre Swift would get a lot more work, but it was his first game back. So they had to work him in a little. So
yeah,
I'm probably with you. Like Dobbins, and I could see a lot of Gus Edwards, which could be frustrating, but still Dobbins. And then, Swift against Tennessee. I think there's going to be opportunities in the passing game and opportunities between the tackles. And, as appealing Fournette is, that, as you mentioned, that is an offense that could be throwing a lot more than we expect. We could see some Keyshawn Vaughn.
And it's just weird, too. Like, how are you going to trust a guy who was a game day healthy inactive last week, who is now, just handed over an every down role? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Like I said last week, there's guys that fit certain spots, and if the starter is out, it's like Donta Foreman in Tennessee. Derrick Henry, he's not going to play because Derrick Henry is going to play. But if Derrick Henry were out, Foreman would step in, see a bunch of work, and get it. So I don't think Fournette's a bad play by any means. I just think you have better options, and I would go Dobbins and Swift.
Yeah. Especially in that game against Jacksonville, where they should be absolutely, crushing them on the ground. Yeah,
they should get back to their roots and run like crazy and keep it rolling. James Robinson, he's a must play, right? Like I know this isn't, as the Ravens get healthy, their defense is a little bit better, but I still think if you have James Robinson, you're playing him.
Yeah, he's a definite active. And it's also of note for Baltimore today. They're going to be without Marcus Peters, Jimmy Smith, and also Calais Campbell on the defensive side of the ball. So I do think that Jacksonville will be able to do some work against this Ravens defense.
So with Gardner back under center, are we going back to TJ Chark and Colin Johnson and some of the Jags that we liked last week?
I mean, it seems that this could be a get-right game for them, and where they should be trailing, which means lots of throwing and lots more work for James Robinson and those wide receivers. It's just hard to trust this Jacksonville team,
Well, and it's hard when they're making shifts at quarterback, because usually you can see the report, you can know where the target volume is going. But with Minshew, I actually if I was starting any of them, I think Chark would be the option. But let's talk your Cowboys and talk receivers. Jason Verrett is out today, which is good for Cowboys pass catchers. And we have a question in the chat. We got T. Higgins with Ryan Finley's under center with Brandon Allen out today. Or we can go to your boy CeeDee Lamb against this Niners secondary.
Well, I actually think that this Cowboys 49ers game is going to hit the over, surprisingly. And I think that this will be a lot better of a game with a little more offense than what we're expecting. So I'd be going CeeDee Lamb over T. Higgins with Ryan Finley playing quarterback against that Steelers defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. Got a former fake pigskinner up in the chat. And we're back to our Tony Pollard conversation. We got Tony Pollard as your starter, or Brandon Cooks in the full.
Tony Pollard all day, every day. Give me the guaranteed looks. Everyone thinks that this 49ers defense is the 85 Bears right now. All of a sudden, Dallas is going to be able to move the ball today, and Tony Pollard will be the benefactor.
Yeah, Kyle, play Tony Pollard. Thank us later. I mean, the Texans are going to throw, but that we talked about how impressive that Colts defense has been. I actually think this Cooks being back is good for Kiki QT.
Yep.
And I think that could open up a lot more when he was kind of had the focus.
Yep.
Took a lot away from him.
Yeah, I actually think that's like you said, I don't know if he's going to be playing like a decoy role, but the fact that he's coming off of a foot injury, a neck injury, a concussion, like I'd be a little worried about Brandon Cooks' playing time. So yeah, I'm definitely fading him this week.
Yeah, I picture him coming out like the kid in Little Giants where he's just wrapped up in
all the bubble wrap.
Yeah. We got a question. We got a half-point PPR league. We need one running back, one flex. We have Deandre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Robert Woods, and the ever-productive T.Y. Hilton, who just keeps going off.
Oh, man.
I guess let's start with the running back.
Really hard.
Figure that out. So if we're starting one running back, it's either Swift or Dobbins.
For me, I got to go Swift. I just think that his dynamic playmaking ability and the fact that he's used in the passing game so heavily, like he has four receptions in pretty much every game this year, whereas J.K. Dobbins is in a situation where they may not throw the ball more than 18 times today.
Yeah, that is true. It's half PPR, but I also trust the Ravens to not give Adrian Peterson 18 carries in a game where they're trailing by 3 touchdowns. So for me, it would be J.K. Dobbins. Now the question becomes, if okay, so I like Swift, you like Dobbins. Are you playing either of those guys over Robert Woods and T.Y. Hilton?
Man, I'm sorry. I don't care how many games in a row T.Y. Hilton goes off. I cannot trust the guy after 12 straight weeks of nothing.
Brian and I are going to both say don't play T.Y. Hilton. That means T.Y. Hilton's going off. So.
Yeah, that means he's going to have 8 for 110 and 2 TDs today. But I mean, out of the wide receivers, I'd go Robert Woods, but I just don't see the Rams having to force the ball down the field today. I know it's a great matchup through the air, and it's one that every team should attack, but this game should be ugly really early, and I think you're going to see, a ton of running game work by the Rams. So I'd probably go both running backs.
Yeah, so that's my concern is like that. I think there's potential that the Rams look really good throwing the ball, and they start off really strong, but I'm worried about kind of that second half.
I'm looking at this being a surprise Van Jefferson kind of game in the second half because they're going to be kicking their ass so bad. You see a little more playing time for the rookie. Maybe he's the one that leads the Rams in receiving today.
Yeah.
I know that's crazy, but
I mean it's a bit crazy, but it's also not that crazy. Yeah, I think the 2 running backs is the play. As scary as it is to go away from T.Y. Hilton, who's absolutely crushing it, because. And we talked about this game. We think Indy is up big, and they don't. But I mean, to get up big, that could be a T.Y. Hilton touchdown.
True. But I also think Houston will be able to keep this game slightly interesting, at least early on, because Indianapolis's defense hasn't been the, shut them down, complete juggernaut it was early on in the year. And Xavier Rhodes, he's kind of showing his age on the outside. Every week he seems to get banged up with a lower body injury, and. Yeah. With Deshaun Watson's running ability, I think that you could see this game stay closer than the experts think, at least early.
Yeah, you could be right there, but yeah, I mean the running backs are definitely safest. I have PTSD with Deandre Swift because I was all in on him last week, and I think he got like 20 yards rushing in the whole game, and in a game where the Lions were actually tied at halftime, so I'm not really sure what happened there. So. Yeah, so I think I might go Dobbins and Woods.
Whoo, you're not playing Deandre Swift, huh?
Man, I want to, and because like that matchup's beautiful for him, and I think he could absolutely go off, but I think I feel a little bit better about Dobbins and Woods. Now, That being said, it would also kind of, we want to look at the rest of your roster and see how you feel about your other players. If you need a big boom game and you can afford to have a not so amazing game, Deandre Swift is definitely the guy. If you need safety and reliability, Dobbins and Woods would be
yeah. I can see that for sure. What are we feeling about this Patriots Dolphins game? Lynn Bowden has popped up on everybody's radar this week, especially in some leagues where he's wide receiver and running back eligible. And with Miami having ruled out Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, Mike Gesicki, are we looking at 10, 15 targets for this dude?
I hope so. I'm playing him as a running back in a PPR league. So here's my concern. I feel like there's a guy like this every so often that everybody jumps on the bandwagon, talks about how amazing the day is going to be, and they do basically nothing. I worry that, but we had that with Ty Johnson on Thursday, and he ended up scoring a touchdown. So I'm all aboard Limbo, and everything he's done recently has led to production. As you mentioned, Gesicki's out, Devontae Parker's out. New England could take away Bowden if he's the option, but I don't know. I think he gets probably 7 to 10 targets and maybe throws a pass, maybe runs a little bit. I think there will be 10 to 15 touches there, and if we get that, then I'll be happy for sure.
Yeah, I've seen on a few sites where they dive a little bit deeper than this simpleton. And they were talking about how you attack the New England defense in the middle of the field because their linebackers are not good in coverage. And that's where Lynn Bowden, did his damage last week against Kansas City. So I think that this is a game that he should be able to get the looks. Now, the fact that he'll be the only guy on the outside now going up against Bill Belichick slightly worries me. But I do think that him being the number one target this week will be definitely beneficial.
Yeah, and it all depends on who your other options are. I'm playing him over Gio Bernard and Boston Scott and some other, not so great names. If you have better options and you want to go there, then I absolutely get that. But I think he does have the opportunity to have a really nice day today and produce for fantasy owners.
Let's talk about the late game between the Eagles and the Cardinals, because the Eagles, no Darius Slay now. They basically have nothing on the outside. Are we looking at the boom game for DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray?
I feel like it's been coming for a few weeks now. And we haven't seen it. I guess it really depends on his shoulder. Is the shoulder healthy? Is he able to put it down the field like he wants? Is he able to run a little bit to keep that defense off bay? The total in that game opened up at 47.5 up to 49. 63% of the bets are on the over. 91% of the money is on the over. Do we think this has the potential to be a high-scoring affair where both teams go back and forth? And Kenyon Drake has a good game. Miles Sanders has a good game. And DeAndre Hopkins having a good game.
This is another game where I targeted one of the guys in my start sits, which, if you've been reading any of my pieces this year, it's probably better to absolutely not touch any of the guys I recommend to start. But, I'm looking on the other side of DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk, because we've seen him have really big games where the opposing team has to put all of their focus on DeAndre Hopkins. And I think Hopkins will definitely get his today, but I do think that Philadelphia will be rolling another. They'll be having a safety over top of D-Hop, regardless of who's covering him, and I think that's going to leave Kirk in tons of one-on-one opportunities. And I think that Christian Kirk could have a big play or two. And then looking to the old man there with Arizona, I just want to tell everybody he has yet to catch a touchdown this year. In every single season of his career, he's had at least 2 touchdown receptions. So if you're looking at any player props, I would be betting a Larry Fitzgerald anytime touchdown for the next 3 weeks until it hits, because there is a good probability that they will force feed him the ball in the red zone.
They don't do that.
Yes, they will. It will happen.
What are odds there? What are we talking?
I think I got it I think I got it at like 3.5 or 4-1 or something. Let me check this.
Right, I mean, while you're checking that, let's answer another question in the
3.5 to 1.
All right. I mean, I don't love it, but this is a good week for it to happen. We need a defense, Brian. We got the Dolphins. Again, so we were talking about from the Dolphins' perspective. What about from the New England perspective? What do we think that offense can do? Or what will they try to do this week? Is there, because obviously the Dolphins' defense has been incredibly, active, getting all kinds of turnovers. Do we think the New England's going to give them the opportunities to get takeaways, or do you think they're going to be incredibly conservative and try and just keep the ball and keep this game close?
So I think that this is a situation where you're looking at probably the floor game for Miami, because New England will have no reason to throw the ball a ton today, going up against the Dolphins offense, like we were talking about with Lynn Bowden, who are completely depleted on the offensive side of the ball right now. And New England's defense, they're still good. And Bill Belichick, let's remember, I think the guy's never lost to a rookie quarterback in his coaching career at New England. So this is an uphill battle for the Dolphins in a game that is likely to be within one score for the entire game and probably going to be played in the 30s. So, yeah. I mean, if you get points for yards against, I think this is a good opportunity for them, but there's going to be limited opportunities for interceptions, probably limited opportunities for fumbles. And so I would probably going to Cleveland.
Yeah, this line opened up at 44, down to 41. 97% of the money's on the under. So there's not going to be a lot of scoring, probably not a lot of plays, a lot of running clock. This game could be one of the first ones to actually end because the clock is running the whole time. Now they are at home, and if you want like a safety and you want reliability and you want something that's not going to hurt your fantasy team, I think Dolphins are the answer. The Browns are on the road. Colt McCoy is the starter, so I'm actually, as crazy as it sounds, I wish Daniel Jones was under there, because if you're looking for turnovers and whatnot, he is a much better target for that. I prefer my defenses at home versus on the road, but I think so it says that we're going with Browns have a bigger upside, but the Dolphins are definitely safer.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins' floor is they're going to give up probably less than 350 total yards, less than 17 points, but there may not be turnovers or sacks.
Yeah. All right. We need a receiver. This is non-PPR. We need a receiver between Brandon Ayuk and Scary Terry.
Damn. All right. The matchup is great for Brandon Ayuk, but
and no Debo.
But I do see Kendrick Bourne there. I do see them running the ball.
Dwayne Haskins is under center, right?
I know he's horrible, but I mean, this offense goes through Terry McLaurin. Okay, I'm going to go with Ayuk. I just think he's safer. You've seen too many duds by McLaurin recently.
Yeah, I think Ayuk not only has the opportunity for a safer day, a 5 for 50, but I think he has a 7 for 180 and 2 touchdown performance in him as well.
Yeah.
So I would, as bad as McLaurin's been so good, and maybe it's crazy to consider sitting him at this point, even with Dwayne Haskins. But I think I would go Ayuk in that situation. Now we need a flex. So Miles or Swift. So I'm guessing Miles Sanders or Deandre Swift.
Man, I'd probably go. Man, that was really tough. I love DeAndre Swift today. I'll probably go Miles Sanders just because I do think that the Jalen Hurts factor is huge for that running game, and I think that you'll see Miles Sanders in the passing game a little bit more going forward as well.
Yeah. I'm all on the board the Miles Sanders hype train, which probably means this is the day it derails. But I think this is a great opportunity. I think these offenses will both produce a ton, and this game will be close down the stretch. So I like Miles Sanders quite a bit today. Back to Brandon Ayuk. We got Brandon Ayuk, or we have Adam Thielen in a full PPR.
Man, I think you got to go Ayuk in this situation. I love me some Adam Thielen. That dude has won me a couple fantasy championships, but that matchup against the Bears, not that they're great, but we've seen Kirk Cousins get off of Thielen and look towards Justin Jefferson plenty this year. So I think that Ayuk being the number one guy, it will have slightly more opportunities than Adam Thielen.
Man, that
These are tough questions, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why these teams are in the playoffs. They have good players, and they're going far. Yeah, that Bears defense scares me just enough, and I really feel a big Brandon Ayuk, but it's also Nick Mullins under center. And if you watch any of that Washington team, but Dallas,
let me just tell you, the Cowboys are not anywhere near that on defense.
If Dallas doesn't get pressure, I think Nick Mullins could have a really nice day. So, yeah, I'd play Adam Thielen there. I wouldn't overthink it. As big of a day I think Ayuk can have. We need a quarterback, Brian. We got Jalen Hurts or Russell Wilson.
Man, Jalen Hurts for me, we talked about this leading into last week and the week before, like just talking about how he was a must add. I thought he was the number one ad on waiver wires, but how the hell do you sit Russell Wilson, a guy who has the potential to throw 4 touchdowns on only 20 passes? Like, give me Russell Wilson's upside over Jalen Hurts's like floor, because he's going to run the ball a lot. I'd rather have the MVP in Russell Wilson going for me.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at totals really quick because, so the where did I see it? So the Seahawks total is at 43, 44, somewhere in that range. And so lower scoring where the Eagles one's supposed to be up to 50. I think Hurts has a solid game. I think he'll have his 250 to 300 total yards. I just don't know about total touchdowns. And I think Russell Wilson, even if he has 180 or 200 yards, could have a couple touchdowns and be really solid here. So you have to really decide what's more important for your team. Do you want the upside? Do you want the safety? Do you want, does rushing help you more than an extra touchdown? I don't know how you can sit Russell Wilson, but I think it is a prime spot for Jalen Hurts. So if you want to shoot for the moon, I don't hate it.
I was just gonna say, if you're in a 4-point passing touchdown league, I definitely start to waver on Russell Wilson slightly and go more towards Jalen Hurts. But if you're in a 6-point passing touchdown, you have to go Russell Wilson.
Yep. And just a heads up for anyone joining us on Periscope, it sounds like Periscope's going away sometime early next year. So next season, you'll want to either head over to YouTube. I think we're going to start doing it on Twitch too, because I think that's going to be a good opportunity. And with Periscope going away, that's our plan. Okay, we need a flex, half PPR. Would you start Kareem Hunt over either of the Steelers receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster or Deontay Johnson?
Yes. I would start him over both.
So who sits in that scenario? Juju?
Man, that's hard because Deontay Johnson has played like brick hands recently. But I do think that they'll look to get him slightly more involved. So yeah, I think you're sitting Juju in that situation.
Yeah, and I wonder about this game as a whole. Like the under is getting pounded. It's at 40 right now. With Ryan Finley under center, he's going to be just being swallowed by Steelers defenders all day long. And maybe we get a Jacksonville type game where Roethlisberger throws for 4 touchdowns. And it's like 38-3, and we're like, well, that I guess that makes sense. But I do wonder about this game a little bit. Okay, so Justin did say it's 4-point passing touchdown. So,
man, I think it depends on the spot that you're in with your game. If you're the favorite, I roll with my studs. But if you're looking for somebody to pop off and say Jalen Hurts has another 100 rushing yard game, runs in a touchdown. The total is bigger. Both of these teams play at extremely fast paces, and they're likely to be trailing where Seattle is supposed to win the game. I might take the chance and go Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I agree with what Brian said. Just if you need to shoot for the moon, if you're an underdog and you want need the upside, that's the way to go. All right, let's keep rolling. We're in full PPR. We need to pick 2. We got Deontay Johnson, we got Brandon Cooks, we got Bobby Woods, and we got Deandre Swift.
Man, I'm probably going. I'm taking Deandre Swift as my number one option in that group. Starting running back, he's going to see more playing time this week because he's 1 week healthier. And then I'm probably going Deontay Johnson, just because of the volume that he sees with Pittsburgh. I mean, regardless, they could be beating Cincinnati by 20 points and still be throwing the ball. So I'd probably go Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, let me just read you target volume for Deontay Johnson the past 6 weeks. 10 targets, 11 targets, 16 targets, 13 targets, 12 targets, 7 targets.
And the 7 targets was when he got benched, right?
Right, and and granted, it was a 4 for 40 and no touchdowns, so that doesn't really help you. But 8 for 71 and a touchdown is nice. 8 for 46 isn't great, but it's just. And the last time they played a really crappy team. Oh, and then you know what he did against Cincinnati last time they played him? 6 for 116 and a touchdown. So Deontay Johnson is a good football player. I think he bounces back in a good way this week. He would definitely be my first one. If you're playing one of the receivers, it would definitely be Woods, and when it's Woods or Swift, that game against the Jets scares me. I worry about how much throwing there is, and I worry that it's just Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp blocking a lot. I'd probably play Deontay Johnson and Swift. All right, we need to pick 3 between Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tony Pollard, Amari Cooper, and Scary Terry in a half PPR.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm definitely taking Pollard just because of the volume he's going to see. I think he's probably my top play out of these guys. I don't give a crap about the matchup.
And then Amari against the Niners defense, especially without Verrett, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity there. And then it's really, do you want safety with CEH, or do you want McLaurin, who could be awesome, but has Dwayne Haskins and could have 3 for 30 and not really do a lot?
Give me McLaurin. The Kansas City offense, they have no interest in forcing the running game and or getting their running backs involved in the red zone. This is the Patrick Mahomes show. He's the MVP. He's their everything. Le'Veon Bell has been working to the offense a little bit more recently. So, yeah, I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the odd man out of this group.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think. I mean, he was he was a round 1 pick on draft day. So,
as somebody who has Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce in a playoff matchup, I really hope you're correct. Really appreciate everybody hopping in, bringing the questions. It really is fun to chat with y'all. If you're liking what you're seeing, subscribe, turn on the little bell notification so you know when we go live. We're here a few times a week, so come hang out, bring your fantasy questions. We're here every Sunday morning, so hopefully we can be a part of your fantasy championships. Brian, we're rolling along.
Yeah.
We got about 10 more minutes. If the questions are coming hot and heavy, then we can hang around for minutes longer. All right, so there's some Swift hesitation. And I totally get it, especially after last week. But I also think there was some phasing him back into the offense. But this is still there's still far too much Adrian Peterson volume in this offense for anybody's liking. So I understand the hesitation there.
Let me go to this.
And if so yeah, I would probably go. I would go Miles Sanders and Ayuk in that situation anyway.
So hold on real quick. Last week in Detroit's game against Green Bay, Deandre Swift's first game back, he actually led the team in carries, was 4th on the team in targets behind Marvin Jones, Hawkinson, and Danny Amendola. And this is while, let me check out the snap counts here. This is while leading the team's backfield in snaps also. So this wasn't his first game action since being hurt. Now, I can only think that this playing time is going to increase in a game that is likely to be another high-scoring affair with their defense. They have their hands full against Derrick Henry and that passing offense of the Titans. So I don't see a reason why Deandre Swift will be coming off the field that often, except for to be spelled for a few plays.
Yeah, and the Titans' defense is really bad. So Deandre Swift should have a field day. More Deandre Swift questions. We got start 2. Austin, if you could drop your scoring format, we'll go with half PPR for now. We got Deandre Swift, we got Fournette, and we got Tony Pollard. Based on our love for Deandre Swift and your fascination with Tony Pollard as a top 15 play this week, Leonard Fournette, clearly the odd man out.
Kick him to the curb. You can't go from being inactive to and all of a sudden just.
I mean, you can because people do it all the time, but
I know, but it very similar to what Kansas City does, on their offense. Tampa Bay, yes, they want to run the ball, but they're going to attack the team's defense that they're playing at their weakest, which is Atlanta's passing game is absolutely terrible. They have to get rolling before the playoffs get started. So I think this is a game where they start working on that rapport between Brady and his receivers.
Yeah, if you just want like a Fournette fall-in touchdown, if that's all you're looking for, then that's fine. But if you're looking for running backs with volume and upside and maybe even a half or full PPR, I think Swift and Pollard are pretty clearly the answers.
And since we've been talking like this, it's pretty much hands down going to happen that Leonard Fournette is going to have 15 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, couple catches. Yep. And then feel free to come back and tell me how much of an idiot I was.
Yeah, we're pretty comfortable with that. We'll give you our thoughts. If you disagree, feel free to fade us. I mean, just based on volume, based on opportunity, based on the way we expect the game to go, that's how our decisions kind of come to fruition. So, and I don't know what to make of this Falcons-Bucks game, to be honest, because part of me is like, well, these are two NFC South teams. They should go back and forth. The over-under is at 50, somewhere in there. But the Falcons are without Julio Jones, so like, what do we expect of that, and what does that force the Bucks to do? I don't know.
But what's so weird is that offense, they actually looked decent last week, minus Julio Jones against the Chargers, which their passing defense was something.
Marcus Mariota lit up the Chargers. Think about that.
That's but he's a runner. I don't know. It like you're saying, I could definitely see a situation where this game is, very similar to what Tampa Bay did last week against Minnesota, where it's 27-13 and that's the final, and Atlanta does nothing.
How are we feeling about your Bucks minus? So it's up to 6.5 now against Atlanta.
Oh, I still like Tampa against the spread. I just think their aggressiveness on defense will be able to get to Matt Ryan. If I could bet on a guaranteed strip sack fumble, I would bet on that right now, because I think that's going to happen at least once today for Tampa. And I think Matt Ryan definitely throws an interception.
Okay. I'm on board with the Bucks minus 6.5. Waiting to see. I'm guessing they'll announce the college football playoff at what, 9:55?
Of course, right before the NFL.
Yep. If you have any more questions, if you're joining the show, please feel free to drop them as in the chat. We can be happy to answer them. Brian, let's talk betting for a bit while we wait for more stuff to roll in. What other games? So, let me see. Where's my card? Here it is. I went 3-1 yesterday in college, which is very nice.
Let's not talk about mine, okay?
Okay. But that means I'm going to go 1-3 today, so that's what I'm trying to. So I have my Eagles is the best bet. Let's see where the odds are currently sitting. We're still sitting at 6.5 for the Eagles. I have the Bears money line. I have +3. I have the Titans under.
That scares me.
Yeah. Have you checked out the Rams first? It looks like the Rams line hasn't moved very much, which is interesting to see after I watched the Seahawks line balloon last week.
Well, I think this one was kind of the public's realization that last week they missed out on the opportunity to get the easy line. So it was bet really heavy early, where the Seattle one was bet heavy late.
And I worry about that, because I worry that when you chase things that you might have missed out on the week before, it doesn't always go well. Brian, can I hit three best bets in a row? That's the question. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say. So the first half, one of the lines that I'm looking at right now that I really love is the LA Rams total points first half 16.5. This I don't see the Jets stopping them at all, and I think that this is definitely a spot where the Rams aren't going to punt today. So I think that that's a nice bet to hit.
Okay, we got a question in the chat. Salvin Ahmed, Gio Bernard, Denzel Mims.
Man. Can you play anybody else? It's probably a deep league. I would probably
play Mims.
Yeah, I just think that the targets are going to be there for Mims. I'm not huge on Ahmed with Washington there and against New England, or Gio Bernard, who they might completely be fading him out, just like Baltimore did today with Mark Ingram and deeming him inactive.
Yeah, and Mims, like, he's not in a good matchup for sure. But you're hoping that he catches one over the top basically and ends up in the end zone somehow.
Speaking on Gio Bernard real quick, make sure you go out if you're like guaranteed to win and say you can drop guys after they play on Sunday that are on your bench, go out and grab Trayvon Williams for Cincinnati, who saw more carries than Samaje Perine last week for Cincinnati. And if Joe Mixon, I don't think he's coming back. If Cincinnati is all in on just tanking the rest of this year, you might see Trayvon Williams in a 3-down role next week against Houston's run defense. Even with a bad quarterback play, if he's going to get that kind of volume, you could have a nice potential upside for a championship team.
Okay. I just picked him up. I was actually looking at him this morning as somebody to pick up. And I was like, do I really want to play Trayvon Williams? But I think yes is the answer. Oh, okay. We have, I'm watching without the sound on, but it looks like it's going to go to fruition. So Alabama is your number 1 seed. Clemson is 2. The Ohio State Buckeyes are number 3. And we got a four seed yet to be announced.
It better be Cincinnati, damn it.
Why?
Because
they barely beat Tulsa, which, by the way, I told you. What do you mean, who cares?
Okay, here's my idea in this.
San Jose State is undefeated. Put them in. Do you want to do that?
Hold on. Here's my reasoning for this. What is the reason that they have these teams play this regular season if they're just going to take the teams that they deem to be the best? When, if you look at the way that the college football is set up, Alabama, they play in the SEC against SEC teams who have SEC talent. Cincinnati plays in Conference USA or the American, whatever the hell they're in, versus teams that are also in the American who recruit from the same level of talent as Cincinnati. So shouldn't Cincinnati's undefeated season be ruled as impressive as what Alabama does, considering that they're playing teams that are of similar talent level of themselves?
No, but it's not. But then let's put FCS teams. Let's put North Dakota State in every year because they beat the teams.
So then why are these teams even Division I then? If you're not earning the chance to play for a national championship, why do they even play the regular season?
Okay, so Notre Dame's strength of schedule was 13th.
Screw Notre Dame. They just got absolutely romped in their big game against the team that got their quarterback back. They got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, they beat the same Clemson team, and the offense was fine.
I know, but every time they're in these playoffs, they get absolutely crushed and embarrassed. Do they really want that again?
I mean, they kind of want that smoke. And then Texas A&M is 10th, and Cincinnati is 77th.
Who cares? Yeah, of course they're going to be strength of schedule 77 because they play the teams that they have in front of them, and they play similar level talent.
Well, we shouldn't have the Power 5 then. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just becoming more and more frustrating because to me, we're just going to pick whoever we want rather than it doesn't matter what you do on the field.
Well, I don't think we're picking whoever we want. I think we're picking the best teams, the teams that could win the title. It's not like it's not like they're putting a 3-loss Alabama in over an undefeated Cincinnati.
But they would do that anyways. Think about it.
Because
their strength of schedule. Because their strength of schedule.
Not if you're not winning games. Not if you're undefeated.
I don't know.
Yeah, if a 2-loss team isn't getting in the playoff.
I sure as hell hope not ever.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. There's usually a good enough team. And I'm so excited for Ohio State to get a rematch against Clemson. They're
going to get crushed.
They should have beat them last year. What do you mean they're going to get crushed? Clemson's garbage. They're not good. They're not nearly as good as they've been.
So if Clemson's not that good and Notre Dame just got absolutely crushed by them, shouldn't that then completely eliminate Notre Dame's chances for making it to the playoff?
No, because they're the fourth best team. That's what the way the based on the schedule, based upon the teams that they played, that makes the most sense to me.
All right, we're gonna have to do a separate show for the college football playoff where we do our picks. We look at some of these things. Let's get back to this NFL here before I get too crazy on college football. Oh man, I love sports.
Yeah, let's just increase it to 65 teams. Let's let everybody trophy. Any more questions in the chat? We're at 9:30. If you have any more questions, people tuned out after that college football playoff breakdown. I don't blame them.
Me neither.
So,
that's all right. I'm a Michigan fan, so that's why.
Yeah, exactly. We can talk about your coaching search and your inability to find a quarterback and all that good stuff. All right. Well, we got one more back. If you're interested, if you have any questions, drop them now. Otherwise, Brian and I are going to get out of here and get ready for our fantasy football day. Once again, thanks to everybody who hopped on, joined the show. Really appreciate everything. Oh, here we go. We got one coming in. Ooh.
That is a good.
See, there is good people in this world. Tony Pollard, Jeff Wilson Jr.
So I actually had this exact situation in a league, and as soon as Ezekiel Elliott was deemed out, I immediately joyfully subbed Jeff Wilson Jr. out and put Tony Pollard in. The guaranteed touches does it for me. Yeah,
I think it's really close, and if 2 touchdowns is going to, or a touchdown or 2 is better for you. I could see Wilson having a 10 carry, 45-yard, 2 touchdown game, but I could see him, if the Niners offense struggles, not doing very well. I like Pollard. I like his guaranteed volume, and I like his potential today. And Notre Dame made it, by the way, Brian. So
that's disgusting.
Alabama's going to beat them by 30. So
good. I want Alabama to take them behind the woodshed and just do to them what
they did to them 5 years ago.
Yes, I don't want to get too inappropriate here, but
just wait. I'm going to be so excited when they beat Alabama.
No.
And then I'm ready for Ohio State Clemson. That's going to be a fun Final Four.
Let me just say this. Even as a Michigan fan, if Ohio State is playing Notre Dame in the national championship game, I will also be singing OHIO. That's how much holidays. I detest Notre Dame.
Thanks for hopping on. Real appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. For Brian Twining, I'm Kyle Robert. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you all next time.